Welcome to the Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes podcast that cuts through the bullcrap and gets to the core of what players need to know. I'm your host, Egnards, joined by Fat Phillip of the House Mandalorian, the first of his name, king of the hot takes, the poor decisions, and the scavenged men, lord of Philadelphia County and protector of the Eagles, the unrelicked father of Wampa, breaker of wills, king of Kyber 2, Cal of nothing of particular importance. So pull over your T23 Skyhopper, deploy your rosters, and hit play before Meathead edits the patch notes. This is Zeta Protocol. Phil, my man, I gotta tell you, nothing makes me happier than when I get to make fun of you. And it took me like 30 to 45 minutes today to put together that little speech. I was on a Game of Thrones kick, and seeing you while I was saying it just made me very, very giddy inside. How are you tonight?
It was a fun, as I was keeping you updated. It's been a fun night of putting children to sleep. As always, it's like anytime I'm going, been on this or do Three Scoundrels, or I have a live stream planned, or when I would play like rec soccer with my friends, those were the nights that my children would decide that it was like Banshee hour. So
It's
it's lovely.
it's just life in general, right? Where you go, okay, normally at 6:30 I'm free, and I've been free every week on Wednesday at 6:30 for the last year. This week I'm going to plan something for 6:45, and that is always the night that something happens. It's awful.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, we're gonna survive. We're gonna be okay. But yeah.
Okay. So I've been doing this since I don't remember June, I think, when Pico and I started, and it's been every Wednesday since then, every other Wednesday since then. And I had called out my wife tonight because we were sitting on the couch. She had just had one of her THC drinks, and I was drinking a Guinness because I'm one of those white people that buys Guinness on St. Patrick's Day and no other time of the year. And she turned to me and said, "I'm ready to lay down now." And I said, "Okay, but I have that thing I have to do in about 30 minutes." And she turned to me and said, "Oh, I forgot all about that." And I finally called her out. I was like, "You do this every other week. Every other week we have this exact same conversation. I don't I don't know what to tell you. Do I need to put it on your Google Calendar?"
It it's one of those. I feel like I mean, I can say my wife would say the same thing with me, where like I will constantly forget when she has like weddings or something else, and I just need like perpetual reminders of like what's supposed to happen. Or like I have a big dad event coming up,
Okay.
uh that I have to take Harper to the doctors without Kirsten.
Okay.
So
Ooh.
I, yeah, all of a sudden it's like, oh
Oh.
no. So I gotta put on my like adult big boy pants there, and like that's gonna. She's like, you have to take notes and you have to keep me filled in, and I'm like, I'm gonna be calling you like, what's her birthday again? Like, who's
Meanwhile,
her primary care?
I have to take the cats to the vet, and it's the same
Uh,
thing, sadly, but also on a much lower scale. Because if I forget what they say about the cat, it's really not that big of a deal. Um, with a daughter, it seemingly could start some little tiffs that night.
oh yeah, yeah. I'm sure I will get yelled at somehow, but it's gonna happen.
Well, at least she's on the same page as everybody else in this community, right?
I mean, it's listen, you got to be able to have thick skin for Swago and your wife. I mean, it just
It is the
I've
key to a
I've
happy
not been
marriage.
yeah, I've not been right in 10 years. It's fine.
You have to be able to pull those punches, and in your head, you go, "Ah, I know that I'm right about this, but is it worth it?" And I will
Yeah.
say that my wife is right about things probably a lot more than I am. So I'm not being elitist about this, but you know, those every couple of times where I know in my head, I'm like, I got this. I know I'm correct, but is it worth the hour?
Yeah, I would say it depends on the I normally say it depends on the moment of whether or not one of us like, which one of us is right. Like,
Okay.
there's plenty of times where, like, I am well in the clear of being correct, and then there's other times where she's just like, especially if I can't find something, and I'm like, "You threw it away," and then it's like,
It's right there. It
yeah.
is right there. I do that all of the time. Without fail. It happened last night. I had no idea where the remote was, and she could have swore that it was by my side of the bed, and of course it was under my pillow, and for the next 15 minutes I did not hear anything but I told you so, I told you so, I told you so.
Dude, I get anxiety when my remotes go missing.
Okay.
I get
Yeah.
anxiety, and my children will take them and move them places, and then my wife, she's very, very clean and very, very organized, and TV remotes do not go even in the little stupid, like, tray that she puts the dumb little plant in on top of the coffee table that
Yeah.
I'm not allowed to actually put any drinks on, but it's there.
Yeah,
Can't put my feet on it, can't put drinks on it, but it's there.
that's for
And
stuff. Yes, that's for
yes,
stuff.
but not and the remotes are not allowed to even go in that little tray. They need to go behind the sound bar on the TV that she has to put a dumb garland in front of behind the sound bar, but in front of the TV that blocks the scores so I can't see what's going on. It is
Wait,
don't get me started.
walk me through your living room setup because I was ready to move into Star Wars, but now I'm a little bit confused. So in our living room, I have the big couch and the
Yep.
small couch, and they make like an L shape. And then there's a coffee table in the middle, which has our little tchotchkes thing that you
Yeah.
have as well. I
The,
used to
the
know the
pinball
name of
shit.
it, but I forgot. But the coffee table is big enough to also put coasters on. Um, if I wanted to put a drink on my TV behind the sound bar, I would have to get my ass up, walk 7 to 8 feet, and put my drink down. And I know that that's not a lot of walking, and I know that that's not a far distance. But when it comes to just picking up a drink and putting down a drink, that is a pretty far place to set it down. So what is going on here?
So we have the long couch here
Okay,
that faces the TV.
obviously,
And
yeah.
then over here, we have another larger couch that is kind of facing the TV. And then off to the corner, there's a love seat
Mhm.
that you can't see the TV from, so I don't ever sit in it because like
Obviously,
th- I
Al
there
Bundy over here.
I do not understand a single room in a house that has couches and no TVs. Don't
So
that's just a that's just a waste of a room in my opinion.
in in
Like
in in our house, when you walk up the stairs, there is an alcove, kind of smaller room that
yeah.
when we have kids, we can close it off and make it an actual room. But right now it's open and just has a guardrail for the stairs. And we have turned that into a reading nook. Now, I don't use the reading nook. I mostly use Audible or like on my phone, but it has a couch and it has three IKEA bookcases. There is no TV in that room. But this goes against the point. I'm just confused. Like, so you
So
sit on the
so the
couch with a
problem is
drink.
I cannot if I I okay, this is so people are gonna hate me for this. This explains so much to you. If I have to do so look, here's my drink,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
So obviously like my arm is not, you know, fully I don't have to reach, right? It's
Yes, of
right
course, it's
here.
right there, obviously, yeah.
If I have to do more than like a full length of an arm's reach
Mhm,
without moving my torso to reach my drink, it is too far away. And the
okay.
coffee table I would have to go from, sitting on my sofa like this to like sitting up, reaching over, grabbing. It's too far away.
Okay, but my question is because you said you have to put him behind your sound bar by the TV.
No, 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 no. The remotes, the TV remotes.
Okay,
So my
okay.
wife takes the TV remotes.
And
They
puts them by
cannot
the
go in the little
TV.
tray. She puts them by the sound bar. So then I sit down on the couch and then I got to
Okay.
get my ass up, go pick up my
Okay.
fucking
Okay.
remotes. And then
Okay.
I don't
I
have
got you.
room for my damn beer on the coffee table that I'm not allowed to put my feet on. Don't
Okay.
it
We're gonna rewind the
yeah.
tape right later. Afterwards, I'll actually listen to this because I can never listen to my voice because I could have swore you went from talking about the remotes to talking about your drink and that your drink couldn't go on the coffee table, and I was
Oh,
confused as hell. And I could be
well,
the one
no, no,
who's
so
wrong here. I could be the
I
one
mean,
who's wrong.
I've been yelled at for even having my drink on a coaster on the coffee table because God forbid I need to have a drink.
Okay.
So like it should just like, I should be like thirsting so that way
Okay.
the coffee
Do you,
table stays nice.
do you have real coasters or are you like a bar coaster kind of person?
Um well
You're not a no. Okay, never
there
mind. I know you're not a coaster person, but but in your
no there
family,
no I mean so I have this is one I may or may not have taken from my work. So it's
okay.
like 'cause
So it's
it's
like a
nice and
legit one.
gold. It's got
That looks legit. Okay. Because
and then I have
I'm a coaster person. I love coasters. I think they're like the coolest thing. So I have tons and tons of different ones just for fun.
yeah, I have a really nice clay Ohio State coasters that I
Okay.
use all the time.
Now by choice or like I
If I mean, I will use them to more piss off Kirsten because she had these little like wooden ones
interesting.
and like because
Interesting.
she hates how much I love sports, so
Okay.
I make sure at every turn
You have more and more
that
sports.
yeah. I mean,
That's what
hello,
that's
like
why you have to have your wife pick your sports team so that she gets into it too. We're
that's
gonna
never gonna
we're
happen.
gonna make you guys Broncos fans. Just your family, your whole family, gonna be Broncos
She's
fans.
this is the thing, like she's a Philly fan,
Okay.
right? So she likes the Eagles, she likes the Flyers.
Mhm.
She doesn't really care about college football, but she will hate on Ohio State because of how
Just because of
much
you.
yeah,
That is love. That's true love.
like I love the Eagles.
Mhm.
I would let the Eagles go 0 and
Down on you.
17 if it meant that Ohio State could win the national title.
Okay. Okay. I mean, all
And there's
right. Teach them.
and
I'm
that's
not into
and it's
college football either, right? I don't know.
yeah.
I like my Broncos. That's all I can muster. I can't put that much care into anything else in my life. Maybe that'll change down the road. I did tell Pico that if I ever got into college football, Ohio would be the team that I end up rooting for just for him. And I know that you are a fan as well. I don't see it happening personally.
This is I figured out why my face is so whitewashed by this camera,
Okay.
or it is because I'm on a Hoth battle right now, and the background light from the computer is just like blinding. Let's turn on the brightness here and let's see if it gets better.
There you
Like
go.
that was terrible.
There you go.
I
See,
just
that was last week. Everyone's like, "Why is he so whitewashed?" And I was like, "He doesn't know how to fix his camera. I don't know what to tell you. You're lucky he learned how to plug it in."
yeah, we're making progress here.
But now you look pretty. You sound pretty. Nobody will complain. We are almost
User, hold
professionals.
on. I don't have a Relic 10 Wampa, so I know I'm gonna get complaints.
That's true. I will be told. I will be yelled at if I
Yeah,
don't every single episode complain about the fact that you don't have a Relic 10 Wampa. It every single episode, if I don't give you shit about that, in the morning when he listens to this, I am gonna get like 40 text messages explaining to me how I should have yelled at you. Um, so there's my
I want him.
rant right there.
I need him to answer on how he'll feel that I'll have a Relic 10 Ugnaught before a Relic 10 Wampa.
He well, that's actually going to lead us into Star Wars, right? So,
Finally,
it is it is Wednesday, March 18th right now. We just got our update drop, but we've talked about this. We talked about this last episode that the updates themselves have been largely uneventful because of the way the eras work right now. When I was on my lunch break, I was texting you and saying, like, hey, what are some of those other kind of background parking lot topics that you want to talk about tonight? Because I have a feeling that we will have time. And about an hour later, we got, I wouldn't say news wise a ton, but in terms of data mines and interesting things to talk about, we did get a large swath of material. That first set, of course, is the data mined Lightspeed bundles that are going to be coming to the game. And that is what you're kind of alluding to with the new Ugnaught. We are seeing a relic. Is it relic? It's relic 10 for Ugnaught. A
Yes.
$10 relic 10 Ugnaught bundle. We are seeing a $5 relic 9 Ewok Scout bundle.
Yep.
We are going to see two bundles for Cup. Okay, so the R10 bundle is only if you have a Relic 9 cup, and it's $10. But the Relic 9 bundle for $5 is coming back. What are your and
I
there's more to this, but what are your thoughts on those things right now?
so Ewok Scout bundle.
Yep.
I've always said, like, I think this is great by them because
Hmm.
it's meme, right? It's 100% meme,
Yes.
but it's something we could like. We joked for how long about the cup bundle,
Yes.
so I appreciate when some of these memes, like like Jar Jar Binks. How long on like forums and stuff did you see like they need to give Jar Jar like a 0.01% chance to instantly defeat somebody? And then it makes his way into the kit and you're like
Yeah.
they bought into the meme and it's awesome.
That
It
made him silly.
works, it fits, and it's awesome. And I want that for these Relic 9s where it's like, "Hey, okay, here's Ugnaught, Cup, uh, Clone Wars Chewbacca." I appreciate it because they are useful characters in territory battles. Like,
Yes.
there are a couple of GLs that can just use these characters to fill your team. And for like you and myself, maybe not as big of a deal. But when you're first coming into the Relic 9 planets on territory battles and you're looking to create a team, those characters become important. And I
Yes.
do like that. So I think as much as they are a meme, they do have utility in the game. It's it's $5. For a Relic 9 Ewok Scout. Yeah, for Ugnaught at Relic 10, it's $10. I mean, I'm gonna probably buy both of those. The cup bundle does piss me off a little bit.
Okay. Why?
It I think it needs to work the way that is it the Supreme or Grand Relic Duality bundle
The buy
where
one get one bundle. Yes.
yeah,
Okay.
you buy it for $100 and then the next one is 50. I think they need to do that with this cup bundle where you buy the Relic 9 one at $5 and then the Relic 10 bundle costs 5, or they just release the Relic 10 is outright $10, or you can buy the Relic 9 for 5 and then get the Relic 10 for 5. I feel like asking for $10 after putting out the other one, it's like I'm not buying the cup bundle at Relic 10. I won't.
Yeah,
eh,
I mean, I don't know if it pisses me off, and I'm assuming you're using, that word slightly loosely, and I could be wrong. But
No, yeah, 100%.
I do agree, like the Ewok Scout bundle, I'm buying 100%. A Relic 9, perfect. Especially for like Vandor, when you can throw Jabba with Ewok Scout and it just doesn't even matter. For $5 is just fun. It's silly. It's a morning coffee for me. Like I will not buy a McDonald's cheeseburger for a day. I don't know. The Ugnaught bundle for $10. Sure, I'm gonna buy that. My Ugnaught is Relic 3, maybe Relic 4 at this
Ooh,
point. I don't expect to ever get use out of Ugnaught, but there is that meme factor for $10. With Cup having already spent $5 to bring him to Relic 9, um, that $10 won't hurt me, but I just feel like from Relic 9 to Relic 10, while material wise, we're looking at $200 for a useful character. I don't know if the meme for one relic level is worth it for me personally. So I'm
Yeah.
on the same page with you in terms of what I'm going to be buying here. I don't hate the idea of, because those Supreme Relic Duality kits are buy one get one every time, right? And they reset every time.
Yep.
I don't know if CG keeps a toggle on an account to say, hey, you bought this cup bundle a year ago. Now this is only $5. They could feasibly, though, say, hey, this bundle is $10 from any relic level or is $5 from relic 9. I guess that is feasible. And if it was only $5, I probably would spend it. Is it worth it for $10, though? I mean, if you can afford it, it probably is. I don't think that I am going to end up with it.
Yeah, I think if you're this goes into something I was thinking about, and maybe it's, something we can talk about with some of the other bundles. It's if you're already spending money in the game,
Yeah.
this you're gonna buy this pack,
Yeah.
right? Like they they know the people that are gonna spend on this pack purely because they buy everything else.
Hmm.
Where I feel this pack misses out on is that there's a large swath who probably bought the $5 pack
Yeah.
that will not buy this $10 pack.
Probably.
But, and I don't know that. I will be very curious to see the data because it was what, like,
It was like
it was what, like,
46,000 if I remember correctly. And I could be,
yeah.
this is a year's, but I think it was somewhere around 46,000 people that bought the original bundle. I don't
So you think,
necessarily think they're doing this for revenue, but of course, it's one of those things where it's like, let's do this for fun because it doesn't matter. And if we make revenue from it, great, right? Like, awesome.
yeah,
But I do think it is more for the meme factor, and that's kind of like a secondary thing.
yeah. I think it again. The memes are
It
top
is.
tier on all of those, and
These
and you know what? For someone who you're, if you're like in the where like it's we say meme at our level, but can you imagine someone in like the early game
having that.
building like, oh, you're going for Leia, so you built Chirpa, Wicket,
Yeah.
Nessa, and then you have like a Relic 9 Scout.
Yeah. Yeah.
You have the Bronzium or Chromium Lightspeed token for a tank that you could put on Paplu. Like, you're you could have a Relic Ewok team with a Relic 9 Scout and probably delete some teams.
And Gerbil will love it. Gerbil will be like, "This
Yes,
is the
yeah,
greatest thing in the world." And you look, it is, especially early game. It's fun. It's interesting. Is it the most efficient use of your resources? No, but I am a proponent for fun just as much as I am a proponent for efficiency. Now,
yes.
more interestingly, and this is what's actually up on my screen right now, is that in these bundles, there seems to be a mystery Lightspeed bundle. There is a bundle with a question mark on it. Now, if we look through these pictures, we do have a picture for the Quad May bundle, which is also coming out. We didn't talk about it because it's not meme worthy, I guess. There is a C bundle that is coming out. There is a Jedi Knight Cal Kestis bundle that is also coming out. We have the picture for the Ugnaught bundle. We have the picture for the Ewok Scout bundle. We don't have a picture for a Relic 10 Cup bundle, but my argument is that it's probably the same picture as the R9 bundle, and that's already in the game assets. Um, I did try to get Meathead to confirm or deny if the. I asked him, I said, listen, all I want you to tell me is this for some silly reason the cup bundle? And he gave me no answer. He did respond to me, but he gave me no answer. And that to me says that it's not the cup bundle. It is some sort of crazy bundle. What is going on here?
Okay, so the fat fill this I'm going to apply logic after I say this.
Okay.
Do we think that this could be a bundle like the thing about like the shard shop currency where you get like you trade like 8,000 shard shop currency
Yeah.
and you get a character at like 7 star,
Okay.
right? At
Yep.
random from the game. I was on my way, I was driving home from work after all of this had popped off, and I was like, all right, like, do I think that this would just be a random character at Relic 10?
Okay.
And I I struggle with it for some reasons, and I could see why it would work for others. The way I see it working is that if they sell this for like $5, because
Mhm.
that's about the price they sell a character at. They could sell it for $5. You could pass it off and say, "Yep, it's a $5 pack." Some people are gonna get a Bosk
Amazing. Yeah.
or, Great Mothers. Others of you are gonna get Mob Enforcer. Where I struggle with this, number 1, now it's not the only pack, so the Gerda keypads and the Droid Brains,
Yep.
those are 2 there's 2 packs that are $5 and
Hmm.
it's legitimate gambling. There's it now they clearly state it. My understanding with packs in this game and games like this has always been that if you spend money, you have to tell them what they are getting. Like, I didn't think that they were allowed to even have chance packs for dollar value. Now,
Okay.
obviously, I'm wrong because they're in game, but I know that that was a problem with, I think it was Star Wars Battlefront 2, obviously the new garbage version, not the great
The
version
old
that we grew
version
up
we
with.
grew up with. Yeah. I will tell you that there
Uh,
is a problem with that. There is a problem with selling packs for money with a gamble to it, but it's not everywhere in the world. So there are countries that do not allow any type of gambling in their microtransactions, and those countries, I don't want to like rattle them off because I'm not 100% sure of all of them, but I believe like Belgium is one area that has legislation. Not even the 500 crystal packs are in the stores of players in that region. The 500 crystal relic packs.
really? Holy
Yes.
moly.
And I have offered in the past to log into those people's accounts and buy it for them because I figured geolocation, it was based on geolocation. But I think it's actually based on where you set up the account because that didn't work. So there are places where that is true. We don't have such legislation, maybe in some states, but I don't know any that I am aware of.
Yeah. But I was like that. I didn't know. I knew, like, I would say, like, I'm wise enough to know I know I'm wrong because they would not put something in the game that would like breach something like that.
Yeah.
But I was like, okay, I'd always thought that. So putting something in there with that kind of gamble, I feel would be problematic.
Hmm.
But I also was like, you're gonna laugh at this, but if they were able, if that pack came in for $5
Hmm.
and it's like, oh, a random character. Well, what if you have that character at Relic 9 already?
Hmm.
Because when you buy a regular Lightspeed bundle, you don't get any excess
Yeah.
returned to you.
Yeah.
But in a bundle, if I meet all of the requirements, it does not show up in my store. Like, you can't buy something that you
Yeah.
already
Yep.
meet all of the requirements for. So I was looking at that and I'm like, you know what? They have to be very careful here because if they code this where you cannot get a duplicate character at Relic 9, like, oh, we're going to look at your roster and we're going to figure out
Hmm.
what characters you can actually get. If you code that, I'm coming right at you and saying, fix your conquest shit so that way I don't get the 3 same data discs on the same goddamn reward tier. And so, like, as dumb as that sounds, as for the hot take, it's like they almost can't do the random character because it would tip their hand too much as to how much coding they can put into things and just don't.
So initially, my thought is similar to you. A Relic 10 character as a mystery. Only in my head, it's only legacy characters. So that would be
Yeah.
anything before clones, I think, right now. I believe right now it's anything before clones, but somewhere in that area. Anything that's considered um in the
Are you
over a year
talking
old.
Are you talking when you say legacy? 'cause we
Like
have to be
high
careful now.
so I'm talking about what it you're right, we do have to be careful, but I'm talking about anything that would be eligible for a Lightspeed token right now.
Well, so that would be Era of Apprentices and before. So,
Okay.
like, Legacy Era would be, like, I think, like Ezra Bridger Exile is technically Legacy Era,
Correct. And
but
after that is clones. So that's exactly what I'm saying. So like anything before
no,
clones.
Spectre. Spectre are Era of Apprentices. They kicked off Hu Yang kicked off
Yes,
the
yes,
Era system.
but those characters are now eligible for Lightspeed tokens.
Yes, but I still I
No, I
so
know.
when
You're
you
right.
said
You're right. Yes, yes. I understand what you're saying because there was legacy, then there was era system, and now we have the era system and the legacy before that. But basically, what I'm saying
yeah,
is, in my head, it's anything that's a year or older, and probably not conquest characters, probably not TB characters, right? Kind of like when you looked at those shard shop currency things. A few of them sometimes had newer characters, but it was very rare of them to have that. My thought is a
yep.
couple things. Number one, I believe that if they do make a gamble pack like that, they probably do have to insert something that says like, if you get a character you already have, it'll be scavenged and you'll get something, right? You'll get something out of it. You won't lose out. You won't get zero, but you won't get as much as you wanted. If that's the case with your current account, because this number is going to be different for every player. With your current account, what is the maximum amount of money you would spend on that in order to take that chance?
Is this a pure gamble or would this
Pure
be
gamble.
a
Pure gamble. You'll get let's say if you get a character you already have, you get like 25% of the value in relic materials. But given your current account, let's say yeah, I mean let's say actually let's to make it more interesting because a relic 10 I have like 8 of them, you have none of them right now. To make this more interesting, let's say it's a relic 9
yep.
because you have relic 9s, I have relic 9s. What is the most amount of money you would spend for a random non-conquest relic 9?
So I was having this conversation in my head of even like what character I would actually
Want?
want because and I just as a side note, I landed on Mara Jade
Okay.
because she's relic 5. I want to bring her higher.
Mhm.
And so other characters I already have them at like relic 7 or relic 8, so like
Mhm.
the pill wouldn't be as hard to swallow. But if it's a pure chance and even if I would get nothing, I'm I it'd have to I mean, I would almost feel sick if it was $5.
Okay.
Like that sounds bad, but I would feel sick to my stomach if I bought that pack
Mhm.
and it dropped a relic 9 that I'd already invested in
Yeah.
and I got basically nothing for it. I would feel sick.
Okay.
So like I don't know that even with where I am, it's just I just don't know that I could do it with my money. I'd rather take that $5 and go buy a beer.
I see. I don't. I don't disagree with you. I understand where you're coming from. I think just for fun value, I would spend $10 on that. Just for the joy of silliness within my guild. I mean, with the
But
cup bundle, 46 of them were purchased in my guild last year, and I don't think a single person bought it for themselves. Everybody just kept buying it for each other just for fun. And I could see my guild doing that exact same thing with this bundle and everybody just buying this particular thing for each other just out of silliness. And I think that $10 would be the price point. Now, somebody who has 100 R9s might feel like it's more of a risk. I have about 50 or so. I think that there's a relatively good chance that I would get something out of it. And if I didn't, it's not the biggest deal to me.
yeah, I think again, I think I talked about I mentioned this was something for me that I was like, it's more of the principle that I
I
won't
understand.
do it than
I understand that. That I understand
like
fully and 100%. That I get.
and that's where I think I was like, I don't know that this would just be something quite so random
Mhm.
because I feel the backlash would be severe.
Yeah.
That I mean, just think about I was thinking of like you start a new account, I buy this pack for $10. I get, I'm trying to think of a really broken character that I could get at Relic 9.
Padawan Obi-Wan, right? Great early.
Yeah, 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 like Padawan Obi-Wan, you get Ugnaught.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
You just bought him.
yeah, like the advantage I now have
Yeah.
for however long is so substantial, and I understand there's RNG aspects to the game, but I think with something as like relic materials and relics, pure RNG is not the answer when it comes to monetary investment.
I
I
don't
think
disagree with you. I do not disagree with it at all. I do I do think that when you're spending money, you should know exactly what you're buying. In this case, as a silly one-off, I would be willing to spend that $10. I don't think that it is the way that monetization should go overall. And I am aware that if I were to purchase something like that at that price point, that I am part of the problem. But I am also the same person that once saw lawn flamingos on DollarTree.com for $1 and spent $100 buying 100 of them for April Fool's Day. So I am a fool, and me and my money are soon parted very often.
yeah, I don't know if you've ever noticed this. So I have my this is so dumb, but it happened to me. I have the sound turned all the way down in the game,
Hmm.
and I just freaked out because I heard IG-12 and Grogu still coming through saying no in my ears when I'm doing my Crate Dragon battle here. Um, but no, like there are dumb things that I spend money on. I spent like $4 at like a discount grocery store that had Super Bowl 59 Campbell's soup cans because they
Yeah,
had the
just for
Eagles
fun.
on them, and it's a Super Bowl that we kicked the Chiefs ass. So like I'm obviously gonna grab everything I can and show it to Bones next time I'm on Three Stooges.
I'm gonna ship it to his house. Do you sell
Yeah.
canned chicken versions of this? No,
Yeah.
I do understand. I understand that fully and completely. And I don't disagree with it in principle, but I also sometimes make monetary decisions that are contrary to what I tell other people to do because I'm not a smart person as much as people think that I am. But not to beat a dead horse, we did also get an update, and interestingly enough, when we go into this update, which I have over here, it seems relatively small. Additive drops are inbound, and those additive drops are for different Imperial commanders, Imperial troopers for the Dedra release. A mystery event that is coming, which we'll talk about in a minute. Yoda and Chewie shards are now farmable from light side battle hard 9C. They replace Baze Malbus. They fixed a few things. Fixed Stormtrooper Luke's Omicron cost. Vane should now gain offense properly based on his max health. And adjusted Smuggler's Run 3 so that the event is not shared. But I believe that there was more than one 3v3 Omicron in the set for the last era, and all of them were fixed. Um, we always seem to do this with our updates where not everything that was changed is put into the updates. I think it was Asajj has the 3v3 Omicron. Is that correct? Maybe. I'm in game right now. We can go and Asajj and check it out. Asajj Dark Disciple.
You are
Hers is Grand
lagging
Arena.
really bad on my end. Keep
The g-
going.
the good news is that I have the recording. um, it's not Asajj. There is a 3v3. Oh, it's Barris.
It's Barris.
It's
You've been
Barris.
lagging for like the last 30 seconds on my end.
Okay. Well, we're going to hope that that shores up. But thankfully, you're not
Yeah.
lagging, and hopefully that stops in the near future. But overall, Inquisitor Barris was fixed as well. Um,
Yep.
Triple drops are not part of this news, but triple drops are coming on 320. Um,
Yes.
I just find it interesting how sometimes a lot of really important and exciting and interesting things are not part of the updates when they should be part of the updates. I have two questions for you. The first is, with double drops today and with double drops tomorrow on 319, how are you approaching triple drops going into 320?
I'll So I think what I'll do is save my cantina and mod refreshes
Okay.
and hit up triple drops. I
Okay.
won't like I'll probably get to like 8:30 tomorrow, buy
Hmm.
my refreshes, and then I'll save them for triple drops and justify. I mean, it's an extra like 50% over what you're getting. So like I'll still hit my 600, but I won't spend the refreshes on the doubles. I'll save it for triple drops.
Okay. So we're on the same, like tomorrow morning I'm gonna wake up, I'm gonna burn my regular energy. I'm gonna let
Yep.
my energy then just build throughout the day, do my bonus energy, and then I'm gonna do 5 refreshes probably for Cantina, 3 for mod, but for 5 for Cantina, and right before I go to bed. Because what some people don't realize is the change in drops between 1x and 2x is 100%, right? But the change
Yep.
in drops between 2x and 3x is only 50%. And what that essentially means is that every minute that you are over capped, you're losing out on those additional battles at a much quicker rate than you would be for 1x's and 2x's. So it's just something that people need to be careful about when they overhoard, when it takes them a little bit too much time.
Well, and that's something like I haven't done the now this is also my crystal situation's a little bit different,
Hmm.
but I didn't do the 200 crystal refreshes for double drops. And my logic, sometimes I do, sometimes I don't, just depends what I my crystal situation.
Looks
But
like,
I
yeah.
kind of I kind of said I was like, it still is a net. It's basically like doing a 100 crystal refresh at the end of the
Yes.
day. You're paying double, you're getting double. You're getting now obviously the time is different because you're getting them faster than you
Hmm.
normally would. So there's but in terms of the cost is the same. But for triple drops, I normally go and do the 200s because at that point I find the
You're
value
making out.
for your get yes, you're actually getting more.
And right now we're so
Um,
pushed for signal data that, I mean, I buy those
oh,
14.99 packs, the crystal packs, every single time, and I feel like I
yep.
can never get enough signal data in the game. My second question is in relation to this mystery event. Now, data mines on the event server suggest that it is related to Gorman, so it's related to Andor. We don't really have any more information other than that. I don't see it as being raid related because it's supposed to be coming in the very, very near future. Um, do we think it's going to be like, I don't know, like the Ahsoka event, like a new monthly thing, a one-time thing, error related? Because all of the characters that are related to Gorman are in the era right now. So
Yeah,
what's going on here?
I I think I'm assuming it's going to be error related.
Okay.
And I say that with angst. um
So angrily.
but yeah, like I would be like I already feel like era content is again, we've talked like kind of,
Hmm.
said this a few times, like there's no skill. It's simply
Hmm.
a spend check. You may as well, instead of having your global leaderboard of how much did you score, it should just be, the amount that you've
How
spent
much
on the
money have you
era
spent?
content, right?
User
Like
wins.
that's that yeah. Like and again, you know what? Like I will never knock. I'm not trying to not saying this and being like, I don't like you people. That's not what I'm saying at all. Just that that content when it comes down to just how much did you spend, it's boring.
Yes.
Like, why play the game? There's no reason to play if it's simply going to be a wallet check. So if this new event is inside of the era that's already a spend check, then it's just another way to, I don't know, it almost sounds, it's like the guys who are spending that money are going to spend that money.
Yeah.
So you don't need to convince user to spend any more money, right? Like you've
He's gonna
got
do
him,
it.
right? Like yeah, like we don't need to be catering, and like he's not going to like that I say that. But like he's going to spend. You need to convince, like I have a shard mate who used to spend significantly more. And with all of these changes, he stopped
Mhm.
because he doesn't feel like it's worth it anymore. You can't get the same value. You can't get what he used to get for the same amount of money. You've got to spend more. And he didn't like that. Those are the players you need to be convincing to start to spend again. Because all those guys who are level 80, 7-star, we don't need to convince them. You've got them. They're hooked. It's find that new person to start targeting. And so if this content is purely just spend check, I think it will push more people away from that.
Interesting. So, I mean, listen, I think we're going to
Because
talk about the era stuff a little bit more later, and I do have a lot to say in terms of just the eras themselves and Coliseum, and that'll kind of go into what we're talking about with Dedra. But when it comes to the Gorman event, I almost feel like maybe they are experimenting with having some sort of like an in era battle. So something and everything that we do is going to help the whales or is going to help the big spenders more than it's going to help the free to play or the casuals, but something that might even help those players out a little bit more to kind of bridge the gap a little bit more because I can't think of what else this could possibly be, right? Like it has to involve era content almost definitely because that's where those
yep.
characters are. We already have era challenges that are giving era currency. I can't think of like what would this be other than to say, hey, you're gonna get some shards to push you a little bit further, a little bit quicker, to maybe entice you to spend a little bit more. Or hey, we're gonna give you some more of the materials, but you need a certain amount of shards because now you want the shards so you can get the materials, so you're spending a little bit, but you're getting a lot more for those $10 or $20.
Yeah, I I would, again, I'm not CG, so I don't make decisions there. But
Hmm.
I think if I look at this and if it is error related, I think the rewards that would make sense for people who are in that range of, like, I buy the episode pass, so obviously I'm not free to play, but I'm if I get to the top 60 right now, that's normally a pretty good day for me, even with the
Yeah.
episode pass. It gets very competitive for me when you get into like that 59 to like 50 range.
Hmm.
Like a little bit of score just completely can change your rank by a bunch of spots. Um, but the rewards that would help is shards would, I think, entice more players, and the leveling currency. Because I feel for a lot of players, materials are always a problem, but I feel for me, when it's the materials, it's one thing. When it's the currency,
Yeah.
that is to me, that is the most infuriating because you're like just staring at the episode pass. Like, I have
15
more
levels.
reward
Yeah.
tracks. Yeah, like until I get it. And you're just like, this sucks. Like, I don't want to spend crystals to get it. So I would love if they would maybe try to do that.
I think that
Um,
what they should do with the episode pass, and this will not solve the problem, but it will take away some pain points, is they should take all of the era currency out, the era leveling currency out of the episode pass as is, and then equally divide it over the 50 levels so that you're getting some amount per level as part of the other thing you're getting. I think, again, it will not solve the problem, but I think it will provide a little bit more ease when you're looking at it and going, oh, I need 1,000 more. And then you look at the era level, the era pass, and go, oh, there's 15 levels. So the next time I get any, like instead of that, you can go, oh, I will have it in 2 days, right? It'll be a little bit easier. One other thing before we get into like Dedra and her kit and everything, and I had said this to you, and I said this to a few people over the last couple of days. One thing that's been really frustrating me with these bosses lately is, and as comparison, I sit at about 9 to 10 in my era shard on all days. So that's a great way for me to compare even the scores around me. On the Jotaz, I am currently on tier 6 at about 80% damage. On the 3 Zepho bosses, I am at tier 6 at about 60% damage. On the ATST, I am at tier 6, again at about 50 to 60% damage. And I sit at 9 to 10 because I can see the scores of my era mates. On the
yep.
2 stupid tiger bosses, I am still on tier 5, 97%. And the rest of my shard is in the same spot because they are not surpassing me, but their spend levels are the same. I was led to believe that you should be at roughly the same spot on all the bosses. And I threw all 15 battles. I refreshed it twice 2 days ago just to try and see if RNG would make it work out. And it didn't. And it was
that
so frustrating.
that boss is, and again, we don't want to. I don't know if we want to get into just how poorly designed the bosses are to in relation to the era characters from this era comparative to the last era, because there's a whole laundry list of problems there. But I think what really frustrates me is that on that, like the dogs, the Dryax, whatever the hell you want to say, I did. Did I get into tier 4? I think I did 1% damage. I got off a basic with Clea.
Yeah,
So one of them went and did the AoE. I did my basic,
you got
and then
nothing.
the other one went and did the AoE. So much engaging, meaningful
Super fun.
content. I
Super
mean,
fun, right?
and I tried to do the AoE with Clea to like, oh, I'll get more damage so
Maybe
that
more
didn't
damage
work.
overall. Yeah.
And every time I tried to do undermine, or I was thinking of it, Vel got dazed, so I
So it was
couldn't get her
useless.
to assist to potentially land offense down. So I all of that said, with that boss is poorly designed,
It's
and Clea's basic will put you over that like 12%
yeah.
threshold, and the
So
other
that's my
characters can't
problem.
make up for it.
That's my problem. Being at the end. So you're at the beginning of a tier, right? So you're frustrated because you can't do the damage at all. I'm at the very end of the tier, and there's 2 basic strategies that I tried. The first strategy was, let me try to keep these bosses even because that's what I'm
Yep.
supposed to do. It doesn't work because Clea does 20% damage. And then the dog goes and kills everybody because the dog is mad that his friend is too low. Right? And you'd think, right, somebody in the comments is gonna go, well, Egnards, you dumbass. You have to hit the one boss with everyone else and then hit the other one with Clea. No, it doesn't fucking work. Because everybody else has level 1
Yeah.
abilities. Vel does jack shit for damage. Cinta does jack shit for damage, except on the exposes from Undermine. So you do like 3% damage on the one boss, And then you hit with Clea and everybody's mad. So that's strategy one, it doesn't work. Strategy two is that you undermine with Clea. And now, first, you have to hope that undermine is not resisted because the first turn is the only time where you'll get all of your characters going afterwards, right? So that's the only time you're going to undermine. And if the undermine is not resisted, you do specials with everybody, and Cinta does a fuck ton of damage. But the problem is that she can only do her exposes on the undermined character. So you basically take one dog from 0 damage to 100% damage and kill the dog. And now you can't kill the other dog because it's just mad at you, right? So no matter what you do, you cannot control the battle the way that you're supposed to control the battle if you are towards the end, right? If you're
Yeah.
towards the beginning, you can kind of like back and forth and be frustrated because you don't do any damage. But if you're towards the end, you can't you there's no strategy involved. You can't. You're just hoping and praying.
It's and I think what gets even worse sometimes is I know Gerbil has mentioned this to us a few times where he's like, "Have you ever noticed that your first
Your
run is your
first run.
best one and then the other ones?" And I can at times I'm like, I can understand what he's getting at, but at the same time, I've noticed myself where it's like my first run, I'm locked in, I'm playing it like the safest. And then I start trying to think, okay, what could I change to do better? And oftentimes I'm not making the smartest decision because
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out, is this better? And so there's a little bit of that. But like I've noticed a few times where I'll get to the boss and it's at like 99% damage or 97% damage and it takes a turn and it does the one thing that you don't want it to do.
Yes.
And then you lose and now you're stuck until the next time the boss comes around. Today I got lucky. The Jotaz had the AoE ready
Hmm.
at like 97% damage and it did a basic and then I got to go with everybody else and I got to Clea. She did her basic and it stayed at 99 and I almost lost. I almost threw my phone because I'm I'm like, no. And then thank God, like Saw Gerrera's basic or POW, one of the garbage guys,
Somebody's.
finished it off. But oh, like the rage that would have flown through me
The the
in
only
that moment.
time the only time I put the turn meter tracker on is one for Order 66 for the raid when I'm doing the 3-man clone run. And when I'm doing Coliseum. And what I have noticed is as I get towards the end of a run, that turn meter tracker is useless because it'll show you like, all right,
Yeah.
your whole team is going, then the Jotez. And then you hit basic, and then they go, no, just kidding, Jotez goes next. And it'll do the basic and it'll kill Saw, and you go, great, it killed
Yeah.
Saw, I don't care. Everybody gets to go again. Oh, you use POW to do a basic. Just kidding. Jotaz is going again. Right? What is the point? That's what happened to me today. I couldn't get past my score because it just kept going. And yes, I've read the kit and I understand the strategies. It's just let I
The
give me something I can play a strategy against.
the the turn meter tracker is also like so busted because it doesn't take into consideration like sometimes it does not take into consideration speeds properly and
Well,
obviously like turn meter gain,
right. So
don't
it
get me
doesn't
started.
it doesn't take into account turn meter game, which makes sense because it can't properly predict what the enemy does. And when that comes to PvP or like regular kits, I understand that. That makes sense to me. I get that. But when you're designing a very specific boss where you're saying you can only do this a certain amount of times a day, and this is very important for your score, you need to design a boss where I can rely on that tracker and I can rely on my buffs and my debuffs and on my kit to actually develop a strategy because nothing infuriates me more than saying, okay, the only way to get this score now is to undermine with Clea. Undermine, resisted. Well, fuck. I'm just backing out now because this run is wasted.
So let me ask you, do you think a fix for some of the problems would be to allow mods to be equipped to era characters?
I mean, I am a huge proponent of equipping mods, even if they are not allowed, like usable in the era, just because I think that that needs to happen so that we don't run into the same situation that happened in Era of Anniversaries, where everybody has to race mods in those last 3 hours between lock. I think that the one problem with allowing mods to actually influence characters in eras is that right now a lot of newer whales are very happy that they are on the same playing field, and that allows them and makes them more willing to spend there. And when you have somebody like me who has a huge roster depth for mods, that's going to make even bigger spenders. Um, it's going to make it harder for them to compete on that same level if they don't have that same roster depth.
So I agree with that. And I'm going to counter that with number one, they just sold the most ridiculous mod packs
Of
of all
course.
time.
Of course.
And they're going to sell them again. And I want it on the record that I fully support them selling those because it falls in line with the advantage that I feel you should get for spending money, which is time. You're buying time is
Yeah.
effect you're not necessarily buying I get you're buying the mod, but you're gonna get those mods if you spend enough time
Hmm.
farming them and
Of
playing the game.
course.
So you're just getting there faster. That's what I think
Yes. Of
spending money
course.
should get you. Um, but because you can equip and unequip mods, I don't I think the argument for, "Oh, well, they don't have as good of them," it's like, I get it. You might not have them to be perfect, but like because the leaderboard is 1 through 10,
Mhm.
there are not 10 guys at level 80 in my shard. So, oh god, you're not first, you're third. It doesn't impact your rewards. If there was a first place reward, second place reward, third, fourth, so on down the line, I would completely agree with you that the mods would be a problem. But because it's grouped into like those brackets and it's primarily driven by levels. Like my level 39 Clea, if I put my slicker mods on her, I'm still not beating your score with a 7-star level, like what, 50 or whatever you have for her. Like that's not going to happen.
70. Um,
God, fuck you.
no, and that is fair. But I do think also that for somebody like me, if I were to put mods on these characters, I'm essentially, doubling their speed and their ability to do things. And I could see myself, for example, on the Jotaz, who I did 70%, 77% damage on today. I could probably get that to 100 easy and be in tier 7 and moving ahead, where they really most likely want me spending and buying another pack in order to do that. So I do think that they do need to do a couple of things to these bosses to make the strategy work. I don't think that we should be pulling outside sources from the eras.
Because because the other area I was going with is the whole like the potency tenacity check at times is ridiculous. And so
Yeah.
I'm looking at like Vel. I don't even, speed is going to be what it is. I'm modding her for just potency because I need her to land the debuff.
Yes. So I think one of the obviously if Clea loses out on her thing, right, then that kind of sucks because undermine is key when you have Cinta. And for people who are maybe on the lower end don't realize that Cinta using expose on those assists really does a ton of damage. I think one key is first of all that your borrowed units should not have level 1 abilities. Those abilities need to grow with the rest of the characters
Oh,
when they get their abilities. But number 2, I could see them making it so that key things, right? Blind is not a key debuff. But undermine is a key strategy debuff. And just making it so that the boss itself cannot resist something like undermine. And that could just be in their kit,
yes.
right? Blind, fine. Blind is not key to the squad. It is helpful. It is useful. It makes or breaks a run by 5%, but undermine is key to the squad. Stop that from being resistible. Not in my kit, not in Clay's kit, but in the boss's kit. Because you are completely
Yes.
destroying a run when I only have a limited amount that I'm even allowed to. Even with refreshes, you can only do 15. So even if I choose to do them, that's as far as I can go.
The other issue with Klea's Undermine is it lasts for 1 turn.
Yeah,
But the 1 turn is on the enemy opponent, not on Clea.
correct.
So, in some of those bosses, she'll move first. You can't use Undermine because 'cause they're all going to move before your team.
Yeah, so
Um,
it depends on the boss, right? Like, and I've said this before, it kind of sucks if you get lucky enough to set it up. So like for the Jotaz for me today, my whole team went first. So I could set up the undermine and do all of the exposes. Great. I do 50% damage right there. It's awesome. But on some battles, like the Zepho battle, it's so much harder to set that up to where you're getting more than one expose. If you even get one expose. And because of the way that the turn meter works and because of the way that the turn meter tracker works, you can think that your two characters are getting turns, but then joke's on you, they're not actually getting turns and you've just wasted that middle ability doing completely nothing. Will Cassian change that? Maybe, but like I want to play with these mechanics before I get that leader in there as well.
well also, I was thinking for Klea's kit, like, this goes into what I when they first announced what Coliseum was gonna be, and I
Hmm.
was really excited because I said, maybe they'll finally look at some of the characters and ask themselves, is this working the way that we intended?
Yeah.
Like, I look at Klea's Undermine and think it needs to be adjusted to say until the end or until the start of her next turn. Like, let it last 1 turn, but she's going to be the fastest character arguably on the board. So if I use that on a character, I now need to make sure that the rest of my team who needs bonuses based on targeting somebody with Undermine can target said character.
My only counter argument to that is that in the legacy game, we will also have Cassian, and Cassian does have undermine mechanics as well, and that may be what makes or breaks that squad.
But I think for 3v3, she's not going to go with Cassian
Possibly.
because I
I
think
don't.
you'll. Because I was thinking the split I was thinking in my head is Vel and Cinta are gonna
Yeah.
go with because they are completely reliant on Undermine.
Yes.
And the only person who has Undermine is Cassian.
Yes.
Playa is not as reliant on Undermine.
Hmm.
She's reliant on Luthen. So now Luthen goes with either Mothma or Saw Gerrera for 3v3, which is
And then you're putting
Playa
in Clay.
following.
But now is
Yeah.
undermine but now here the point is undermine beneficial to that squad in a meaningful way. You know, it might not
Yeah.
be that it really impacts that team very much at all. And that make and changing the way the dynamic works may not even really do much for the squad as it is. But we don't know.
Well,
Is
because the other thing I was thinking is people are gonna get you gotta I think they also need to think about these abilities
mhm,
outside of Cassian.
yes.
Because obviously for you, you're gonna get Cassian. Even I'm gonna get Cassian. He's not gonna be 7-star, but I will get Cassian. What happens when Cassian goes to Journey Guide? You get new players downloading the game. They want to build the Cassian team. You've got to build that up. You're going to have Clea. You're going to have those characters, and you're going to try to use Undermine. And
So I have two
it.
counter
You know what I mean?
arguments to that. I have two counter arguments. The first counter argument is that when we saw the era of anniversaries and we were kind of worried, we're like, well, these characters who are at low relic levels are not going to be very useful to players who are not getting them to 7 stars. With era of anniversaries, we saw that that's not true. And I know that this doesn't fully answer your question yet, but I'll get there. We saw, even in Kyber 1, both of us, I'm sure, saw it. Spider Legs Maul at Relic 4, 4 stars, Relic 3, 4, whatever it is, being very usable and getting drops. We saw IG 90 at 4 stars, helping that Afra team take out Jabba's. We saw Inquisitor Barris's on a five man Inquisitor team, completely putting a stop to all of these counters. So the first part of this point is that players right now, it's very possible that even with a 4 or 5 star Cassian, which is much, 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 much cheaper, will be able to function with the squad. The second point
Yeah.
to this is that a team or a player a year from now, maybe their team is not super awesome right off of the bat, but that's really no different than other team and any other team. That's no different than the Gungans without a 5 man team with Jar Jar, because the Gungans literally do not function unless everybody in that team is Gungan. It's no different than the Inquisitors before you get Grand Inquisitor or before you get Third Sister, who completely transforms that team. I think that's just the growth of the team, and by the time these characters become accelerated, which seemingly might be close to the time they actually come into the journey guide, uh, it's not that big of a time frame.
No, that's fair. I'm looking at it and I'm like, can we not just update this a little bit to maybe make, especially when I look at Coliseum, make the player experience not miserable.
So that's the thing,
But
right? Is what I'm saying is, like, in Coliseum, and I know I'm like counter arguing my agreement with Coliseum here. With Coliseum, that's not the premier game mode for these kits, the kits themselves. Um, I don't want to say, hey, change the kit until we see it function in Legacy. Um,
yeah, and that's now you open up a can of worms. The whole concept of Coliseum and Legacy.
yeah.
This is gonna sound so bad, but like if I spent money
Hmm.
to unlock a character and the first 3 months of her existence was Coliseum, I would lose my mind. And
That's
then
the
by
world
the
we exist
time
in.
that
Yeah.
you do finally get to start using that character, it's 3 months down the road. There's been how many other, like I think of it maybe in a way to think about it. Look at like Vader Duel's End
Hmm.
compared to say Luke, where people have a much better understanding of Stormtrooper Luke than we do Darth Vader Duel's End because we had Luke for so much
For a
longer.
lot longer. Sure.
And but for people who spent that money, I guess I'm just looking at it and I'm like, I feel bad that they paid for Luke and their advantage in having him at 7 star was over a player like myself is basically going to be contained to a single Grand Arena season where it used to be like 3,
I
right?
get that. Of course, I do understand that to some extent. But I also do think that, players, they know what they're getting into when it comes to what they're spending on. And there are people in the era of anniversaries who said, I don't like this anymore, and they're not spending anymore. And
Yeah.
there are newer whales who are saying this is great. It is what it is.
It's I think what's great if you're a newer whale, you're getting the gear for free or for
Yes,
free.
which is beautiful. Yeah. Oh, yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you're getting the gear. You don't have to that part of it I think for new whales is awesome. And even for like for you and I argue we're like low key the biggest winners of that because now we can completely change the way we spend raid currency to solely focus on relics. Like we do never will like I'll never need gear 13 gear again.
Gear. Outside of
Like
scavenger.
I
I use it for the R8 and R9 scavenger all the time. But other than that,
Right, but, like, I'm saying, like, I will
Yes.
like, I remember going through the era system the first time, and I said, "Okay, I need to figure out if I cannot get these characters to, like, level 75.
Yes.
If I can't do that, I need to have this amount of gear saved up to take them from gear 12 to gear 13."
Hmm.
And then they're like, "Oh, you're gonna get there." And I'm like,
You're gonna get there. Yes.
yeah.
You're
I was
never
like,
gonna have to
"This
worry about
is"
that again.
yeah. So I say that as, like, new whales love this system, and I think the older whales are like, "What the hell? Like, this sucks because I don't need you to give me gear. I already have it sitting there."
Well,
And I know you can use it.
the reason that they say that this sucks is really more about the spending, right? They were like, "Hey, I was spending. I'm throwing out a random number here. Hey, I'm
100 it was
spending
like $100.
$100, right, per character. Now you're telling me I have to spend 130 per character, all for this dumb game mode, and they're annoyed by that. But I feel like I personally have beaten that topic into fucking
Oh,
oblivion,
yeah.
and it has annoyed me a lot. We do have two more things I want to touch on tonight, and the first is very fast. The first one, I don't know if you noticed this in the data mine, is that we are going to get that hero ability coming with Dedra's marquee. Did you happen to see this?
I did not see that. I breezed through her kit reveal.
Okay, so this
Or
is one of my biggest annoyances with Coliseum has been the fact that it didn't really make sense, right? It was, well, we're getting all of these rebels. We have all these rebels. We're only getting Dedra, and nobody's ever going to use Empire because the week after Empire, when the actual leader comes to the game, you're going to have Cassian. Uh, what we got today in the data mine was High Holotable Heroes. A new hero ability is coming to Coliseum for the remainder of the era of Andor. With the introduction of the new ISB subfaction, we are giving the first unit, Dedra Meero, a hero ability in Coliseum. This makes the ISB the ideal team to take against some of the bosses of the era. The new ability reads as follows: if all characters are ISB, they gain 20% defense, max health, and max protection. At the start of each turn, they expose all Coliseum bosses for one turn, which can't be evaded or resisted. Whenever a Coliseum boss is exposed, all ISB characters recover 3% health and protection and gain 15% offense until the end of their next turn. Dedra is immune to losing ISB ranks. If you want to see this in action, set Dedra Meero as the leader when entering the Coliseum. Leaving empty slots will summon ISB allies into these slots, up to 4 ISB characters for 4 empty slots. Essentially, I feel like they're basically saying, hey, artificially, we're going to make you use ISB because this is going to be a really powerful ability, and just deal with it, right? All of those marquees that you built up, you now are going to use none of them because you need the ISB special ability and you need all of the characters to be ISB. It just, to me, I don't want to spend a lot of time talking about this because we have the Dedra kit reveal to finish up on, but it feels kind of cheap to me. Does that make sense?
yeah, I'm about to man, I read that and I'm about to rip into them. Um, this is it goes back to the whole problem that started where I said we're never going to use ISB
Yeah,
because Cassian's going to come out
because it doesn't make sense.
at the time that Major Partagaz, who's supposed to be the leader. Yeah, like why? So then, and also, if you want to see this in action, set Dedra as the leader when entering the Coliseum. So I'm never going to use Major Partagaz, who's the leader of the ISB, as the leader in Coliseum.
Well, I'm assuming that this is going to be for both of them personally, and that
But it
maybe not.
will
I don't know
get
because it
Meathead to
says
confirm
giving
that.
the first unit, but I have a feeling that both of them will have that active, and it's just that Dedra is the first one coming to the game, so that's why it says Dedra. I'm not sure. But it feels shoehorned into me because it's like, hey, you've built up all of these characters. Now you're just going to use none of those characters, and once again, you have to use all of these summoned characters. But it's okay because we've built up this unique ability that's going to make them do a lot of damage because of exposes.
Well, and now you're sitting there and you're like, oh, if you're really smart free to play, you'll invest heavily into Dedra
Yeah,
because she's supposed to be good. Now again, it does say some bosses, right?
it does it right.
Against
It
some
says
of the
some
bosses.
bosses, so some bosses you may still be using the rebel team. Yes,
We got to
that
make sure that Meathead doesn't go back and edit that and to be like all bosses or
well,
one boss.
well,
Like,
we have that here now, right? It is here, and the other the other problem I have with this is that when we were talking about era of anniversaries, one of the big problems, one of the big criticisms was we don't really get to learn the kits because we're using all of these characters that don't go together. Now all of our my characters in my ISB faction are gonna be doing a shit ton more damage than they're supposed to be, and we're gonna get them propped up and go, "Oh my god, this team is great." Are they great? We don't actually know, right?
yeah.
But I just wanted to get that out there in the open because we have a kit. I don't want to go too crazy long. I want to read that. I want to get your thoughts on it. I know you have read it briefly today. I have not read it at all. We have to read it because this episode is named after her, and it would be really weird if we didn't. So we have Dedra's kit. Do we have animations? No, of course he did not put animations in, though he was supposed to. Dedra, beloved antagonist from Andor, basic. Deal physical damage to the target enemy and expose them for 1 turn. If they are already exposed at the start of Dedra's turn, she deals an additional 50% bonus damage and gains retaliate for 1 turn. So, right off of the bat, in Coliseum, she is going to be doing a lot of damage because she has expose on the enemy and she's dealing 50% bonus damage because they are already exposed from the start of the turn. Super basic, super easy, um, very, very quick first ability.
Yep. I'm
Special
trying to
one.
pull it up on
Yeah.
I'm trying to pull this up on my phone so I can follow along so that way my face doesn't get washed out by my internet
By
browser.
your screen. That's okay. You're texting. It's fine. I don't mean that much. I get it. Um, Special one, watch your back. Dispel all debuffs on ISB allies and Dedra gains tenacity up for 2 turns. Call all other ISB allies that are not undermined and the target ally to assist. Then undermine target other ally for 2 turns, which can't be copied, dispelled, evaded, or resisted. Grant assisting allies offense up for 2 turns and they recover 15% of their max health at the end of their turn. Now, the importance of undermine here is that it does speed up the enemy, your character, right? But they lose critical avoidance and they lose critical chance and they can't gain bonus turn meter. But I guess that's just how it works. Dedra undermines an ally and calls allies to assist. This ability is Dedra's most consistent way to inflict undermine. It's integral to Dedra gaining rank from her unique ability. Okay, so it's important for her unique. Um, Special 2, do not bore me. Dedra gains 20% critical chance and critical damage, and an additional 20%, stacking max 100 for each other undermined ISB ally until she uses her basic ability on her turn. If Dedra is rank 2 or above, she gains protection up 20% for 2 turns. If Dedra is rank 3, grant all ISB support allies retribution and speed up for 2 turns. Now, I haven't read the kit. I did read slightly into Partaz's kit, and this rank thing, I guess, has a lot to do with just the team itself. That
Yep.
sound right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Unique 1, systems either change or die. At the start of a battle, if all allies are ISB, Dedra gains 35% tenacity and 50% turn meter. Whenever other ISB allies trigger expose on an enemy on their turn, Dedra undermines that ISB ally for 1 turn. Additionally, if Dedra is rank 3, whenever an ISB ally uses a special ability against an enemy with expose, they inflict torture on the target enemy for 2 turns at the end of the turn. So that's going to be a lot of extra damage in Coliseum. Whenever Dedra undermines an ISB ally, she recovers 10% of her max health and gains overconfident for 2 turns. Whenever an undermined ISB ally takes a turn, she gains 10% turn meter. Whenever an ISB ally's undermined debuff expires, they gain overconfident for 2 turns. Whenever Dedra has overconfident, she is immune to taunt effects. For her Omicron, while in 3v3 Grand Arena, at the start of battle, Dedra exposes all enemies for 2 turns and gains 30% max health. While ISB allies are undermined, they have 80% offense and defense. When ISB allies gain undermined, if they are already below 50% health or drop below 50% health, limit once per undermined, they gain protection up and tenacity up 20% until they are no longer undermined. Whenever Dedra undermines an ISB ally below 50% health, she gains potency up for 2 turns. My God, that was a mouthful. And the last one, I think, right?
That's
This is her chain of command. Yeah.
yeah. This is the whole
Okay.
like rank thing. I think.
Okay. So, unique 2 chain of command. At the start of battle, Dedra gains rank 1. Every time Dedra undermines an ally, she gains a rank. Every time undermine expires from an ally without them taking damage, Dedra loses a rank. Whenever Dedra gains rank 2, she gains health steal up for 1 turn. Whenever she gains rank 3, she gains foresight for 2 turns. ISB rank abilities gain additional effects based on rank ranges from 1 to 3. And I believe the hero ability in Coliseum means that she cannot lose rank in Coliseum.
Yes.
So
Yep.
essentially, as I kind of said, and as you had kind of said, in Coliseum, she is going to be shoehorned in to essentially being the de facto leader. And I almost feel like it is very possible that it might be for all 4 bosses, at least for her 2 weeks before Cassian comes out.
I think so. Like I'm looking. If Dedra is ranked 2 or above, she gains protection up. This
Yeah.
is in special 2. If Dedra's ranked 3, grant ISB support, retribution, and speed up. Now, the one thing there early on is gonna be they're not gonna have like Partagas won't have all of his abilities. But
Yes.
that speed up is gonna be ridiculous in Coliseum because we're constantly complaining about not taking turns and we don't have mods. So getting speed up will be big, and there's a couple of bosses where, like, the now some of them they gain damage based on buffs or stuff. There's some weird interactions with buffs with some of the bosses.
Yes, where if
Um,
you have buffs, like they do more, like the Jotaz, I think once a buff on your character expires, it ends up doing more damage to you. And then like if the ATST misses because of blind, it does more damage. But
unless it
again,
unless you have undermine.
unless you have
Unless you
undermined,
can
and
undermine
there
it.
is going to be some
Yeah.
undermine here, but then also because of the exposes, there's going to be torture, which is gain bonus
Yep.
damage equal to 10% of this character's max health when damaged by an attack.
Now they're immune to max health damage.
Oh, so is
They're like I don't
torture?
I've been wondering I've been looking through this stuff and I was like, because torture's max health damage and all the
Yeah.
bosses are like um I think I feel like all of them it says it somewhere.
It probably does. But so like at first when I was going, hey, this is going to be super super cool for them. I was thinking because of that torture, it would be really nice. And I didn't remember that it was max health damage, but does that almost feel like torture is not going to do very much at all in Coliseum?
I'm trying to I'm trying to read. I'm not no, it's not jumping out at me anywhere, so
Because
maybe
here's
I'm
here's the
wrong.
thing. So expose is 20% max health damage. And I'm telling you that
Yeah,
expose does a shit ton of damage to these bosses. Like
but so just to kinda, like, right?
yeah.
If you got 5 exposes on the Jotaz, you would kill it.
So it might not be, yes, so it might not be immune to it, but it takes reduced damage,
Yes, yeah.
right?
I'm not seeing it called out anywhere
Let's see. I'm
that
gonna
they
pull it up
take
here. Featured info,
like, I'm not see I'm
Jotaz,
looking in the,
hero abilities
I'm
in
looking on
here.
all the different bosses. They don't it doesn't say that they take reduced damage from, like, max health, but I feel like they definitely are.
They have to. They have to.
There's no way, because even, like, the burning from Clea doesn't do a lot of like, burning from her AoE doesn't deal a ton of damage like it should.
Yeah, they. Oh, here's why. Expose itself is 20% or 0.02% for raid bosses of max health. So just
Uh,
artificially,
oh, yep.
they are probably raid bosses. Though I mean, the
What about
expose
what about
does do
what
well.
about tor what about torture? What is that one
Torture,
for? That first showed up for Trip.
torture does not have a specific for raid bosses. So either way, max health damage does work against them, just not in the exact numbers we'd expect. So torture will most likely be effective against these bosses. I just don't see a world, at least until Cassian comes to the game, where where we're not going to be using this team just kind of shoehorned because of this ability. Because they're going to have level 1 abilities. And if you're at the
Torture
top tiers, you're not going to have a full team, but you're still going to be doing it anyways. Maybe because you're at a higher tier and you only have 2 summons, it it'll even out on some of the bosses because you need more. Like the Zepho Guardians, you want more people on your team so that you can keep them away from those 3 stacks. That's all I can think of.
Yeah, I just had a terrible Jotaz run right there. Had a
You
terrible
you
run.
heard it here.
Um,
Philip is so bored by me that he's playing Swugga in the background.
no,
No,
so I
I'm
was
joking. I'm
trying to
joking,
get
man. I'm joking.
no, I'm trying to get you your answer there. No, um, the torture's nice though because it does reduce defense.
Yeah.
So in some, I mean, again, it's not like it's 50%. So the only question that I always have, because this is such a weird thing to say, right? It's like if they gain, like, doesn't the Jotaz gain like a stupid amount of defense after a certain
Uh,
point?
the
Um,
Jotaz.
or
Let's
is it just
see.
offense that it gains? It
Deal
says the
physical, deal
damage
more
this unit
damage.
it as
Jotez gains
it's
2%
yeah.
offense. Jotez gains 50% offense till the end of the battle. Well, that's Roar of the Crowd, right? The damage this unit deals is increased. The damage this unit receives is decreased. I don't think that that has anything to do with defense. I just think that that's their artificial damage
Yeah,
caps.
I think I think I was getting confused with the offense
Yeah.
gains. Oh wait, no. Okay, for the dumb dogs,
The dumb
for
dogs.
each
Okay.
instance of damage received, they gain 3% defense stacking until the start of its next turn. So
Okay, so that doesn't stack.
torture can help
Mitigate
alleviate
that.
that problem
Mitigate
because
it.
yeah, you're gonna yeah. It's not gonna be
Okay.
perfect, but it could help.
It's not gonna be a lot though, because they take turns so frequently that you're only gonna be getting a little bit of extra defense there anyway.
But
But
well,
I do think that you're gonna be using this team
yeah.
just as an artificial thing. Um, with that said, we are pushing close to my favorite time of the day, which is midnight, and going very long on our Coliseum rant there. Quickly, do you have anything to add before we kind of bounce out for the night?
Um, I think there's been some, like seems like there's been some good updates
Little
to
ones.
like they gave like there's been some stuff where you're like, all right, this isn't all terrible. I think what a lot of us are just waiting on is what is the next big thing?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like when is that next big direction shift? Cuz as much as Coliseum was a direction shift, it also wasn't because you're not spending your resources any different than you were before. There's new resources to spend, but you're not spending relics any differently. You're not
Mhm.
spending mods, you're not spending any of that differently. So what will be the next directional shift of that resource expenditure?
I'm gonna call it
That's
right here
my
before we end. Right at the end of this era, when whatever the next era is, that same announcement post, maybe not the same post, but it'll be on the same day, is when they announce the next
day.
raid, and that'll be right after this era. I'm telling you, it is going to happen right after this era. They are going to announce the next raid. They're going to say it's coming at
But
the
that
end of
doesn't
that era. I'm telling you, it's happening.
I don't mind that, but that still is not getting after my point of that's not changing the way you spend your resources. Like you spend your resources in the raid. I'm saying like I'm waiting for that directional shift to say territory war, grand arena, or something else
Oh, like a
you need to
big,
start
big,
paying
big.
attention to.
Yeah,
Yes, I'm talking,
that's gonna be. I think that's gonna be a while. I think you're gonna be waiting a little while. I think that they're.
but
I think
that's
that right now they are committed to working out Coliseum, and I think that they have a lot of work
yeah.
to make it work right. And they are going to be spending at least the next 6 months outside of the raid, because the raid takes up a lot of development time. Outside of character development time, fixing Coliseum to be something that people want to spend on, but that every reasonable person is happy with. And I think that that's
Yeah.
right now where the majority of resources are working. And will there be something in the background that they're working on right now that we have no idea? Maybe, man. Yeah, probably, but
I
I think we
I
got a
just feel
while.
that's what a lot of us are. I just feel everybody's waiting on that next big like
Of course.
what are we supposed to do?
Fix up the TB timing and give us a new bonus time planet, but not until after you fix up my timing. That's the answer. Fix up my timing first. Make me spend less time there. Then give me two at the same time. Two new bonus planets where I gotta like figure out which one I want to go for, but fix my time there first. We're not going to argue about that right now because I would like to go to bed. So, with that said, whew, I will say peace out and have a great, great rest of your night or commute whenever you're listening to this. And I will leave you, Philip, King Philip, with the last word.
Enjoy the day. We can make fun of each other all we want, but the most important part of this game is the community. So as much as we want to make fun of each other and as much as Egg and I have a go, a big part of the reason we're still playing this game is because of everybody here. And sometimes it can get very divisive in this community. And we don't want that because without the community, this game falls apart. So, you know, be respectful, be kind, and Broncos suck.
You heard it. See, I was gonna say you heard it here first. Phil had his first great take, but I'm gonna end on fuck you.